You are listening to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks.
Warrior Auburn fans, welcome to No Huddle, your source for Auburn football news and discussion, part of the E2C Network. I'm AJ Richardson, and I'm also here with Jared Davis. It's Auburn's bowl game. It's not the one that we hoped for, but it's the one that we got, the Birmingham Bowl. Jared, this is the week we have been waiting for. No, I'm just kidding. We haven't been waiting for this. I wish we had been waiting for this, but we did get the Birmingham Bowl. We're playing Houston, who's 11-2. We do get to play in a new stadium that's brand new. So that's where UAB's been playing. Pretty excited to see kind of what the fans' experiences inside this new stadium. But Jared, how you doing? And how are you kind of feeling about this Birmingham game coming up?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. If y'all hear me coughing, I got a little bit of a head cold going on, but other than that, doing okay. And as far as Auburn and football, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of, I don't want to say numb, but bowl games don't matter as much anymore. So, I mean, I know the prestige is still there, more of like an Outback Bowl, but really, at this point, just get more practice time is what it's about for this team. So, I'll be watching. I watch them anytime they play. So, and I won't remember it's the Birmingham Bowl once the game's on. So kind of excited about it. I've heard about the new stadium. I haven't been there in Birmingham in a while, but that'll be pretty cool. And, we got some reasons to be excited. We'll talk about in a minute about some players that might see some playing time that hadn't in the past.
Yeah, no, I think there's going to be some players. I mean, we're already hearing about D Davis, who, I think at best during the season was probably third, kind of in the ranking of quarterbacks. And he's apparently getting some good snaps, which, that's truly what's happening. He's getting some second team reps in there. That means he's, surpassed Grant Loy and moved on up the rankings there as far as quarterbacks go. And that gets me excited, especially since, I mean, we know Bo's leaving, already left. And what that kind of means for the quarterback room is there's pretty much open competition now for, TJ, D Davis, and then probably, I've heard, we're eyeing a guy, multiple people in the transfer portal for quarterbacks. So lots of, quarterback conversation, excited about that. And we'll probably talk about that a little bit later in this podcast as well. But we right now, I think we're feeling all right, but really it's all about motivation. Like, Jared, what's kind of your thought about where this team and where they might draw that motivation? Finishing 6-6, they have a chance to get a winning record. Any other things you think that might motivate them to play better in this game?
Yeah, I mean, the one cool thing is this team was, as bad as the record finished, they never quit. I mean, all the way to the end. 59th minute, into the band. Well, they went into 4 overtime. So they had multiple reasons to kind of, slack off in the season and never did. So I just don't think they're going to do that in this game. I think it's going to be hard fought. I think, you can preach it, and that's all we can go off of with Harsin, but he's about getting better every day. And, I think his mentality is, I don't care what the name of the bowl is. I don't care what game it is. I need to see improvement from you. And if that actually happens, then we could see some good things. That's motivation there, essentially, where you're practicing against your standard instead of, just a bowl game. So, outside of that, you mentioned D Davis. I think getting to see him, the fans are going to be excited. Who knows what we have in him, but we do need to see that because we're going into next year and we don't know who the quarterback is. So a lot of things to look at. Finishing the year 7-6, as crazy as it sounds, does seem to be a lot better than 6-7. So I think it's a big game.
Yeah, you played well against Bama in the Iron Bowl. Barely came up short against that one. And I mean, honestly, yeah, you lose the last 4 games and you have potential to lose your 5th straight game. That's pretty harsh. But players and maybe more fans value the win-loss kind of streaks. But players are going to play hard either way if you've got a good coach. And it seems like Harsin's kind of, like you said, mentioning he wants the guys every game to play their hearts out every week. Doesn't matter the opponent, you got to play hard. And if I'm looking at that, I think Auburn has a really good opponent in Houston, who's only lost 2 games, and one of them is just to Cincinnati, who's in the playoffs. And then the other one is Texas Tech, which honestly that loss looks pretty bad. They lost 38-21 to them, and Texas Tech's not ranked. So, that loss doesn't look great, but you probably could argue some of Auburn's losses have not looked that good. So that kind of makes me think we got something to play for a little bit. Now it's just a matter of how do they come out and perform on that day. I do want to we talked in previous seasons about Gus Malzahn and his bowl record, not like seemingly like the players his bowl record wasn't great. How do you think we or Harsin flips the script on that? I mean, how do you get your guys motivated? Is it what you're talking about? Kind of you say, hey, this is one more game. This is a lot of practice. Put your work into it, and you'll be rewarded. Is that the motivation, like to get the guys to play well? And, like you said, kind of a seemingly insignificant bowl game in the Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of ways you can motivate guys. You can motivate them with playing time. You can motivate them with, there's, playing for Auburn, the name on the, the front of your jersey. But I think Harsin's more of the mindset, and Saban, he's not Saban, but I mean, this is kind of what they do. It's what John Wooden did. John Wooden didn't even watch film of other teams. John Wooden was like, hey, look, I know the standard it is to win championships. He was the basketball coach at UCLA, won 11 of them. And he's like, we're going to play to this standard. I don't care who we're playing, what we're doing. This is what we're going to do. So I think that Harsin is more of that mindset. Now, we haven't seen it on the field yet, but I think, well, let me back up. I think you could argue that, hey, look, this team lost players. They were losing games, and they had every reason not to keep trying to reach for that standard. And I think it's evident they did. So I think we're on the right path there. I think that's how you flip the script. Yeah, it's just a bowl game, but we're not playing a bowl game. We're playing to get better. And also, this is a little unique in the sense that we didn't really have tremendous expectations coming in. So it's not like a year where we thought we were going to be playing maybe in the playoff or SEC.
Well, we did at one point, but
we got
how
a
that
number 12.
goes.
We got a number 12, but I think we all were still kind of like, is that real? And so it wasn't like we have a huge letdown as a fan base where we were. I guess my point is there's been years where, 2017, you lose in the SEC championship game, and we were just down going into the Peach Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to happen here because there's not much to be down for. You need to try to go win this game to end with a winning record.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a player, I mean, this is all about, especially the young ones this is a lot of times bowl games like this it's the young guns that we start to see, starting to rise to the top. This is a great time for them to show out. I mean, it's essentially like a pre-A-Day game where they get to show out and have some fun. And that's what I'm honestly hoping we can come out and do that. Here's a couple fun stats for you. So Auburn and Houston have not faced each other since 1973. And Auburn does lead the series 5-1. So, as far as historical context, we got some favor there, but I mean, it's literally been since 1973 since we played them. So yeah, it really doesn't matter. It's kind of up in the air there. Auburn is favored by 2.5 points. It opened up, I think, at 3 points, kind of lowered to 2.5 points. So, it's pretty much a toss up. But I do think one of the things that will give Auburn a little bit of an edge is it's in Birmingham, and there are a lot of Auburn fans in Birmingham or around that will attend this game. And I think there's going to be, I don't know, if I had to guess, like 70-80% Auburn fans there, and then 5% Bama fans, because, Bama fans just can't help themselves. And then whatever, the rest for Houston. So
let me ask you a question. How do you score 2.5 points? Because that would have been useful in the second overtime in the Bama game.
Oh, that would have been brilliant. Yeah. I want to know that secret too.
We're favored by 2.5. Like if we could have put, we scored on the 2, if we could have scored on the 2.5 point play, we won the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, that's so true.
So do some research on that, and we'll get back to us.
Yeah, definitely. I'll research that. So, we already mentioned it. Demetrius Davis kind of getting some extra snaps in bowl practice. But Jared, I want to discuss, like, how do you think we might use him in this bowl game? Now, Bobo's gone at offensive coordinator. It's now Harsin, kind of probably running the game. He has more of his hands on the offense than he did even with Bobo. How do you think, Harsin and this offense is going to use Demetrius Davis?
From an overall usage standpoint, I think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be gimmicky. I think it's going to say, hey, you get a series or two, go run our offense. I don't think we're going to put him out there just to do some, zone reads or something. From a fit standpoint, I don't know. I mean, we don't really know what Harsin runs, and you would think more pro style is what you need, and that's not really Davis. However, if Davis can make all the throws, it doesn't hurt to also be athletic. So
yeah, for real.
I mean, really, it boils down to if he can make all the throws. And keep in mind, I don't know if people know this. He broke, I believe it was Kyler Murray. He's from Houston, I believe, and he broke Kyler Murray's high school records in Texas, passing, if I'm not mistaken. So he's a capable quarterback. He's not tall, but neither is Kyler Murray, neither is Russell Wilson. And Austin Davis is coming in, and he's coached Russell Wilson. So when you're not tall, it's about making sure you understand throwing lanes, because you got to, otherwise they'll knock the ball down. So I think we're going to give him a full package. He's been here all year. He knows the offense if it's anything like what Bobo was running. So I think we're going to give him 2 or 3 series to go run it and see what he can do.
I would love that, because honestly, my first thought was I think they might just use him in a couple key scenarios, because I'm thinking back to, we used Malik Willis a couple of times where we'd say, all right, run the zone read and, just see what happens. Take it sometimes and hand the ball off sometimes. So, I mean, that was my first thought, only a couple plays here and there, but I would absolutely love if we actually get 1 to 2, maybe scripted series with Demetrius Davis and see what he's really capable of. Hey, this is kind of his time to shine. I mean, really all we as Auburn fans have kind of seen him is, I think, just A-Day. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even get any snaps this whole season up until the bowl game. So
no, yeah. And I think something people need to realize too, and I didn't know it either, it's hard for coaches. We were hollering to bring him in. You can only you're having to prepare for games. You can only give so many quarterback snaps. So Davis was third string. He was not getting a lot of snaps that coaches were actually watching. Yeah. So it was TJ and Bo. Well, now that's happened. Now Davis is up in the number 2 role, and he's getting a ton of snaps that all the coaches are watching.
Yeah.
So even if he goes out there and lights it up, I know fans are going to say, see, I told you. Well, we didn't know. They went with the 2 more veteran quarterbacks.
Well, and even I think I would personally argue after, Bo gets injured and we put in TJ Finley, I would have been personally really shocked if we went with Demetrius Davis, just because TJ Finley has game experience as a starter at the Division I level. Demetrius Davis doesn't yet.
Yeah, you can't take Davis up to a road game in South Carolina. I know we lost it, but they didn't know that. I mean, they got to go in with the best chance possible.
Yeah.
You can't put Davis into that scenario.
Oh, no. First, your first start or, significant play time. No, that's just a recipe for disaster as a true freshman. So, I mean, we kind of already hit on this, but TJ Finley running the offense, I think he'll probably get a majority of his snaps this game. And you know what? I think if we're going to have Tank Bigsby back, I think we probably might do a little bit more run type of offense. And you know what? I would not hate it. I would absolutely love that to see Tank getting the ball a little bit more. We do not have for the bowl game, and this I think was reported already. Some of these players, Roger McCreary. He's going to be preparing for the NFL. He's going to be going to the Senior Bowl. Zacoby McClain, again, preparing for the NFL, and he'll be doing the East-West Shrine Bowl. Broderius Ham, he's also declaring for the NFL draft and preparing for that. And then we've got potentially just Owen Papo not playing in the bowl game. But Jared, do you know any more about kind of where Owen Papo is at with that? And it's kind of up in the air whether or not he'll play. Well, probably won't play. But what's your kind of your what you're hearing on him?
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of things and nobody knows, and we won't know till game time. But the consensus I'm hearing now is that he probably won't play, but not because he's leaving Auburn or even going to the draft. I heard a report that he got an NFL grade of essentially, hey, come back one more year, put some more film on, on out there, and you could be a fringe number one pick. So I think the consensus is he's coming back, but he may not play the bowl game because honestly, those high ankle sprains, he's probably still not recovered from that. I mean, those things it would have been better to just break it. High ankle sprains, you almost need about from my understanding, 6 month, time frame to recover.
Yeah. And I mean, he's only had what, a month or two of
and he hadn't really, he played he tried to go 2 games, so he hasn't really been recovering. I mean, so yeah, I think that if it's iffy at all, I wouldn't play him. I mean, I know, look, we want to win this game, but if it comes down to, hey, you're going to lose this game, but you keep Owen, I get a healthy Owen next year. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into the next segment, which is players to watch for Auburn. We'll do offense, defense, special teams, kind of like we've done the rest of this season. Jared, who are you going to be watching on offense for Auburn in this Birmingham Bowl?
I hope I don't steal your thunder because of who you just mentioned a few moments ago, but I'm going to go Tank. I'm going to see, we went away from him a good bit this year and times we shouldn't. So, and I have no inside info, but I think that was part of the saving conversation because he was potentially out the door. I think they made a commitment to him. They're like, hey, we're gonna get you more carries so you can highlight, be the feature back here. So let's see if that starts on the 28th.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely have my. I mean, I was already watching Tank, this whole season more or less. But Tank is definitely on up there, especially with him coming back. Let's see how he does, and where his mindset is for a bowl game like this. I mean, and if I think Tank's a little bit off, we go with Jarquez, and Jarquez Hunter runs the ball. But I think Tank. I mean, we all know Tank. He comes out and he plays hard.
Hey Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here, because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
The guy on offense I'm really watching. So the guy I keep kind of going back to is Demetrius Robertson, because I feel like, he's had, a couple moments here and there. But I mean, this is his last game and I want to see him ball out. This is probably his last chance before, he's probably going to at least try to go to the NFL. I don't think he has the capability to do so, but it would be fun. It'll be a cool storyline if he does so. Let's jump to defense here. So, Jared, who are you going to be watching on defense for Auburn?
Honestly, probably the secondary unit as a whole, because I think they've kind of relied on Demetri or Roger McCreary, and now everybody's got to shift up one role. Whoever was number two is now got to be the number one guy. So, kind of want to keep an eye on them as a unit, see how they respond. I mean, they're losing by all accounts, potentially top 15 draft pick. So, let's see how they respond to that.
Yeah. I think defense, you're getting some pretty big gaping holes in the secondary because they're just not going to be playing, and it's not our best secondary that we have put out this season. And I'm kind of going along the same route for my player to watch, and it's actually going to be kind of like you players to watch on defense, and it's going to be the linebackers, and simply because two players we've already mentioned, Zacoby McClain and Owen Papo, are probably not. I mean, Zacoby's definitely not, but Owen's probably not playing. And so we're going to have to go with some guys that are the second string behind him. So, the linebackers, just see how they do. Because, it was pretty evident, when we were missing both Zacoby and Owen, our linebacker core had a pretty significant drop off. So I want to see how we have a whole month to prepare for this. How do we, figure out what to do with our linebackers? All right, let's finish out players to watch with our special teams. Jared, who are you going to be watching on special teams for Auburn?
I guess probably maybe is it Javarius Johnson? Who's the receiver? He took over punt return roles in the Alabama game, and I didn't. That was never announced. We just noticed it. So I'm guessing that's his new role. So let's see what he does and see how that, carries over into, 2022.
Yeah. I mean, that was a little shocking to me to kind of see him back there because he might have gotten one earlier this season, but, put him in a big game like the Iron Bowl and Javarius Johnson. I mean, he had a couple returns. One was a long 19-yarder. I think another was, just a yard. But, put him in a big situation like that, and you got to have some trust in him.
He's my sleeper sneaky pick for maybe potentially busting out next year. I think that, I mean, you saw it in that screen pass against Mississippi State. He just jogged past everybody. I mean, I think that we got to find ways to get him on some drag routes and slants because we got to have that guy that can take it to the house, yards after catch. And so maybe the coaches saw that too and said, look, here's another way to get the ball in his hand, put him back there to return punts.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been a fan of him since he came on campus, and seeing how explosive he is and how quick he is. I mean, you can't help but want to see more of him. So again, another young gun that I think could potentially start making his ascension in the depth chart, in the wide receiver room, but special teams as well, because special teams can be a key role in flipping games. The guy I'll be watching is going to be Jerquez Hunter, and for the sole reason of kickoff returns, and I love them. So I want to see him return some big punt return or kickoff returns. We've had some pretty decent kickoff returns this year, and then some weird holding calls that may or may not have happened. But SEC refs are going to SEC ref. So that's my hope is we don't have SEC refs in Birmingham. So we will see. I doubt it because it's home central for
Birmingham.
SEC.
Yeah.
So we're probably getting SEC refs. So forget what I just said. All right, Jared, let's kind of finish this discussion up with the Birmingham Bowl and talk about our score predictions for this game. Jared, who are you going to be watching or not? Who are you going to be watching? What do you think the score is going to be for this game, and how do you kind of see it play out?
Man, I really don't know. Usually I have a feel one way or the other. There's just so many missing pieces for us and maybe for them. I haven't kept up with them, but it's hard to predict against us unless we're playing a huge rival we've struggled against. So I'm going to pick Auburn, and I'm probably going to say like 24-17.
24-17. Does that mean we win?
We win.
Yeah.
Don't even watch it. It's over. We win.
I mean, it's like NCAA football on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like you just know it's true.
I just predicted it. There's no need to watch it.
Yeah, no need. We win.
Yes, sir.
I wish that was the case for many games. That would have been nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like you said, I can see this game going a lot of different ways because we don't have Bobo as our offensive coordinator. And, kind of what I've been hearing about. So Harsin had his hand in, like most offensive minded head coaches, in the game plan for offense. And he kind of left the rest of the, say, like the scripted plays were Harsin. So Harsin would, help out game plan that, overall, what are we doing? And then he kind of let Bobo do his thing. So this is where, I mean, if Harsin comes out and, he has a different mentality about how to call plays, which I think he does. And even TJ Finley said something like already, Harsin's mentality is we need to go a little quicker than what Bobo was doing. So there's going to be some changes that I don't think Houston's going to be ready for. So I could see this game kind of going one of two ways. Like Auburn loses by 3 points, but I could also see this game where we win by 2 field goals or 2 touchdowns. So it's gonna, I think it kind of falls somewhere in that, like we win by 14 or lose by 3. And it just, I think it probably depends on how well our offense kind of puts things together. So I guess officially I'll say, let's go with an easy 10-point win, I think. Yeah, I'm feeling 10-point win. Let's do that.
I'll take it. I'll take any kind of win.
Yeah, for real. All right. Had a couple like quick, small discussions that have, we've discussed before in previous podcasts this last week. But, they've officially happened now. And we know what's going on with them. So I wanted to discuss them now. One with Bo Nix and the other with Austin Davis, who's our new offensive coordinator. So some people were talking about, this may not be a place like in the SEC that you might expect him to go. And sure enough, he ends up transferring to Oregon, which I would not have predicted. And many people, kind of, didn't even consider him going to Oregon. So, he's now at Oregon, and guess who Oregon opens up with, Jared?
Georgia.
Yeah. And what pains me is every time Bo Nix at Auburn has played Georgia, Georgia has absolutely just ate up Bo Nix. I don't know if that's an offensive scheme thing or if it's they figured out Bo. But Bo hasn't had his best games. So again, kind of, that'll be an interesting to watch. If somehow Bo Nix can come out and beat Georgia first game next year, cool. That would hype me up so much.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I don't know where they play that game, but that's a big one to open up with.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's also kind of interesting to mention about Bo. I mean, remember his first game as an Auburn Tiger was against Oregon. Now, he's headed there to Oregon. He ended up that last minute pass to Seth Williams, won us the game, and got us all excited about Bo Nix and the capabilities he has as a quarterback. But it's always sad to see a player go, but I really do hope he plays well at Oregon. And just for my sake, living in the state of Georgia, beats Georgia. Like, I really hope that would be so beautiful. Yeah,
I got nothing against Bo. I got nothing against Oregon, really. So yeah, I'll be pulling for them in that game.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last little topic I wanted to kind of discuss with you is around Austin.
Let me throw this out there before we get to the coach, because I think that'll be a good ending point. Let's let everybody know that today, Sunday, we landed. We got the commit from Jeffrey Emba.
Yeah, that's right.
The number one JUCO position, the number one JUCO player, period. He committed. He signed Friday, but he announced today and over in France. So that's a big pickup. And per 247 Sports, I think it moved us up to like number 13 in the rankings overall for people that keep up with that.
Yeah, big Thanos as that's his Twitter name is.
Yeah, and we kind of talked last podcast like it was a done deal. but it wasn't. We didn't know. So yeah,
but signs were pointing towards Auburn. Like pretty much all signs were, but now it's official.
It's official. He is coming to Auburn.
Yeah. So I think again a big pickup in the transfer portal, and I think Auburn needs to hit the transfer portal pretty hard. I mean, it's pretty obvious where we need it, and I think it's offensive line and then wide receivers. Kind of getting both of those filled in before the end of the year. And there's so many players out there. Now, I think the issue might be, from all I've heard, offensive line is going to be super hard to get, but you got to go out there and try. At least land one or two of them that can be instant impact type offensive linemen.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's talk about our offensive coordinator that is now officially official. Last time we were talking about this, it was pretty inevitable that it was going to happen. But we now have Austin Davis as our offensive coordinator at Auburn, and we have some pretty high accolades and praise from previous coaches, and even the Russell Wilson, who he had coached at Seattle, which I think is pretty telling of where he's at as far as this guy is going to be kind of a difference maker. And I think the more we're hearing about him is he is just a well thought of guy. He was kind of a backup quarterback in the NFL for a few years, had a phenomenal season or a phenomenal career. Was it Southern Miss? So lots of good things around him. And you're kind of getting really excited about the potential of him, growing under Harsin. Even when he's not going to be calling plays, it's probably going to be Harsin. So that gets me excited. But Jared, what's kind of your thoughts on Austin Davis and where he's at?
There's not a lot to go off of from a coaching standpoint. I mean, the only thing I can rely on is, Pete Carroll said that he's one of the bright young minds in football, said that he's going to have a big impact, at Auburn. These are comments made after, he was hired, not stuff they've said over the years. Pete Carroll had some positive things to say. Russell Wilson had some positive things to say, again, after this hire, not before. This is like they've come out. They didn't have to do this. So for them to come out and say these things, make it seem like these are legit. I think the thing that he brings that some of the other candidates we were looking at don't is, hey, listen, I know what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. I was one, and I've coached one of the better ones. So if you want to get to the NFL, come play at Auburn, I will show you how to get there.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, I mean, from all of the marketing and, even from what we did on signing day, this isn't just, signing to, play for Auburn. It's we're preparing you for the NFL. And I think that speaks well to a lot of recruits, which, one of the things I've definitely heard Austin Davis, one of the things that people are really excited about him is he's going to be a guy that we hired just to develop quarterbacks first off, because that's a very key position, but can go out and recruit the quarterbacks that are at the top level. And like you said, for that same reason of he knows what it takes and can get the guys up to that level. Just because, he was one. He was playing at a small college and went undrafted and knows what it takes to, get even on a roster. So I think that kind of makes me excited about it.
And if you don't, if you're like, okay, does coaching really matter that much? Yes. Look at, our season wasn't much better, but if you don't think Bo Nix didn't improve tremendously from the previous 2 years, his footwork was better. He stayed in the pocket better. That was just, a short period of new coaching with Harsin and Bobo. So if this guy has been working with NFL coach, absolutely, especially with the quarterback position, it's like a golf game, right? Like there's so many things that can go wrong. And if any of them go wrong, your swing is off or your throw's off too. The footwork has to be correct. And this guy's going to be able to just train these guys. Now, can they go do it? Can they do it with 90,000 fans screaming at them? We won't know that.
Yeah.
They will be prepared going into that game.
Right. And one of the things that I've also heard about Austin Davis is He knows how to simplify the game down for players. And I think that's honestly what makes or breaks a college quarterback a lot of times is, can you simplify the game down for them and still run the offense? Because, I think you could, easily do, here's this play, throw it to this guy all the time on this play. But there's so much more to it than just like a simple thing. It's like, all right, let's read what the defense is doing, simplify that down to this makes an easy decision for you. Every time you see this, do this. And that's what I'm hearing Austin Davis is really key at doing, which I think will translate to a college quarterback very, very well.
Well, and one other thing too, and this is all hypothetical, we have no proof, but he's going to bring NFL concepts with him. Are they going to work with the players we have? I don't know. Are they going to work in college? I don't know. But he's going to bring concepts that non-NFL offensive or coordinators in other schools are not using. I think Todd Monken over at Georgia has brought some of that to them. He was an NFL guy too, was not a coordinator until he took that job. So there's some things that they do in the NFL that they have not seen in college that the defense is not prepared for. And, can you go execute? It's going to be the key, but there's going to be some new concepts that that college is not used to.
Yeah, that's kind of the excitement. I mean, there's a slow progression, obviously, to, get more passing into games, but I think Austin Davis will be a key part of that. For us is bringing maybe some new concepts into this and, meshing with what Harsin and, maybe even Keesaw and what Auburn wants to do as an offense. I think all of those kind of pieces, I think it could turn out pretty good. And it's, up to Auburn and the players to kind of perform. Jared, any other final thoughts before you get out of here?
No, just, excited about the 28th, see what we got, and then start the long off season of no football, but, we're not there yet. We got one more game.
Yeah. There's one more game, which always, I am a fanatic when it comes to Auburn football. I'm watching everything. But, it'll be fun because I think this might give us a taste. I don't think we're going to see a drastic change in offense, but we might start to see some different things, like maybe some more up-tempo type stuff now that Harsin is going to be more in charge of the offense instead of having Bobo. And maybe I'm just I went to college when the thing was Auburn fast, no hurry up, no huddle. I mean, that's why we named this show No Huddle. I am very in favor of that, but I understand there's times when you should do it and times not to. So I want to see kind of where we kind of fall in that spectrum, and maybe even this bowl game, and get a flavor for the 2022 offense. Jared, before we get out of here, how can the people stay in touch with you?
You can just find me on Facebook under my name, Jared Davis.
And you can find me on Twitter, AJAY_. It's always great to be an Auburn Tiger, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.